Summer, you're muted.
All righty, welcome again. Thank you for logging in. I know it's going to be a challenge today, but we got it. So before we continue, the next muscles that are adjacent, which is the extensors, you can see page 171. You got three muscles right there that are called extensor carpi ulnaris, extensor carpi radialis brevis, and extensor carpi radialis longus. We're going to explore those. But before we do that, I'm going to show you this brachioradialis muscle. It connects, crosses the elbow joint. It helps also in elbow flexion, but it's in the middle. It separates your extensors from your flexors, and it's be right here. So if you press your thumb up and you grab this muscle, that is this muscle. It's gonna be in the middle. These are your extensors, and these are your flexors. And in the middle is gonna be this muscle. So let's have a look at that one. It's gonna be very prominent on people. So easy to palpate, easy to find, and it feels wonderful to work on. So let's show it to you quickly.
We have an anterior view of the distal right arm as well as the right forearm and hand, and we are looking at the brachioradialis muscle. The brachioradialis muscle is one of the muscles in the superficial anterior compartment of the forearm, and it's also located in what is called the radial group. For context, we also have the biceps brachii and brachialis muscles drawn into this figure, but they are ghosted with less density so that we can see through them. Please note that the proximal end of the brachioradialis from an anterior perspective runs deep to the biceps brachii and brachialis. Proximally, the brachioradialis attaches to the proximal 2/3 of the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus. From there, it runs distally to attach onto the lateral surface of the styloid process of the radius.
Awesome. Styloid process are these, right? You know how we have the malleolus, which is the processes of the fibula and the tibia. We have processes right here and right here for the ulna and the radius. So it feels like a pointy bone, okay? Looks like a tooth of a shark tooth or something. So that would be a process, a bony landmark. All right, now let's move on. And anybody interested in a cadaver dissection? Okay.
We have a lateral view of the right upper extremity. The elbow joint is here, the wrist joint is here, and we are looking at the brachioradialis muscle. The brachioradialis muscle is technically in the anterior forearm, and it attaches proximally to the proximal 2/3 of the lateral supracondylar.
Summer, we can't see the video.
It then
You can't see it?
Mhm. There you go. That's good.
Thank you.
Down distally, it crosses the elbow joint anteriorly. It continues running. It's superficial for its entire course until it gets very far distal in the forearm, where it runs deep to the abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis, and then it runs just past them to attach onto a landmark here, the styloid process of the radius. For a little bit of context, here we have the brachioradialis. Directly posterior to it is the extensor carpi radialis longus, and then the extensor carpi radialis brevis. Those three muscles together are very often termed the radial group or the wad of three. Usually we say that there's an anterior compartment to the forearm, a posterior compartment, and we say that the brachioradialis is in the anterior compartment, as I alluded to before. But some books will say that there's an anterior compartment, a radial compartment, and a posterior compartment. When we use that organization, then the brachioradialis is in that radial group with the extensors carpi, radialis longus, and brevis. And then for a little more context, again, here is our brachioradialis here. Here is biceps brachii of the arm, upper arm. There's brachialis of the arm, upper arm. And peeking out on the other side here, we can see pronator teres. So this video lesson is about the brachioradialis attaching from the proximal 2/3 of the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus, crossing the elbow joint anteriorly, running distally.
Sorry, cut you off. But you got it, right? Very important muscle. This way you can figure out which is extensor and which is the flexor. Okay, let's move on to the extensor carpi ulnaris. So we got our flexors. Let's move on to our extensors. All right, extensor carpi radialis. Also, nerve innervation for the flexors and the extensor are important because a lot of irritation happen on the elbow, on the medial epicondyle for the most part. And it's C6, C7, and C8. Origination, you can see it's the common extensor tendon, which is the lateral epicondyle. So this is the medial, closer to the body, the one that sticks out more. The lateral is going to be on the thumb side, okay? I encourage you to do the flashcards. It really, really helps writing them, seeing them. And I think this is a much better
We have a
view than the
posterior
classroom.
view of the right forearm and hand, and we are looking at the extensor carpi radialis brevis muscle. The extensor carpi radialis brevis is one of 3 muscles of the wrist extensor group and one of the 3 muscles in the radial group. It is located in the superficial compartment of the posterior forearm. For context, we see that the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle has also been added into this figure. It has been ghosted in with less density so that we can see through it. The extensor carpi radialis brevis attaches proximally onto the lateral epicondyle of the humerus via what is known as the common extensor belly tendon. From there, it continues running distally and it eventually attaches onto the posterior surface of the base of the metacarpal of the middle finger, the 3rd metacarpal.
Awesome. Middle finger. Beautiful. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And that will be the radius, or the longest. Yeah, brevis means short. Longest is going to be long. Extensor carpi radialis longus. All right. Innervation of nerves, same, 6, 5, 6, and 7.
We have a posterior view of the right forearm and hand, and we are looking at the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle. The extensor carpi radialis longus is one of the 3 muscles of the wrist extensor group, and it's also one of the 3 muscles of what is known as the radial group. Proximally, the extensor carpi radialis longus attaches into the distal 1/3 of the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus. From there, it runs distally to have its distal attachment on the posterior surface of the base of the 2nd metacarpal, the metacarpal of the index finger.
All right, let's take a look at that. Finger 1 and finger 2 in the previous one, right? Digit 1, digit 2. Digit 1 is always the thumb. This is 2, this is 3. So it's an extensor. So as you extend that finger, you can place your hand flat and feel the muscle that is moving as you extend the finger up. It's really light. You don't have to press too hard, but you kind of get an idea and you're going to find it. Now, it's not on the epicondyle. It's on the ridge. So after this bone right here, if you flex the arm like that, maybe you'll see it this way, it's going to be that after the bone, there's the dip. When you feel that dip, that is where the attachment is, okay? Now, with the brevis, it was digit number 3, correct? So the extensors for the carpi radius, brevis, and longus is going to be finger 2 and finger 3. If you do them together, you can see that they kind of, it's easier to palpate. You can feel it a little bit better, okay? And you can see also the muscle moving under your skin. So all extensors are going to extend and all flexors are going to flex. Usually we work with these as a group. And so now you have the lateral supracondyle. Supra, superior, so it's over the condyle of the humerus. The ridge is going to be that little groove that comes from the wider portion to the narrower portion of the bone. Insertion, we got the base of the second metacarpal. Beautiful. So now let's move on to the extensor carpi ulnaris. Alrighty, actions, they're gonna all be the same. Just want to show you extends the hand and the radial carpal joint, which is the wrist, okay? If you want to write your insertion's origin, again, common extensor tendon, we have a common flexor tendon, we have common extensor as well, the lateral epicondyle of the humerus now, okay? So the lateral is going to be on the outside on the epicondyle, not over doesn't go up, but right on the epicondyle. And the insertion is going to be the 5th metacarpal. So let's kind of see how that goes.
We have a posterior view of the right forearm and hand, and we are looking at the extensor carpi ulnaris muscle. The extensor carpi ulnaris is one of 3 muscles of the wrist extensor group. For context, we also see that the extensor digiti minimi muscle has been drawn into this figure. It's been ghosted in with less density so that we can see through it. And we also see that the very distal end of the extensor digitorum distal tendon has also been drawn into this figure. The extensor carpi ulnaris attaches proximally into the lateral epicondyle of the humerus via what is known as the common extensor belly tendon. It also has a proximal attachment into the middle 1/3 of the posterior surface of the ulna. From there, the entire muscle continues to run distally, and it eventually attaches onto the posterior surface of the base of the 5th metacarpal, the metacarpal of the little finger.
Awesome. Extend the little finger, put all these fingers together so you can isolate, and then just lift or extend the elbow, and you should feel it moving right here and follow it till you get to the epicondyle right here. Okay, beautiful. Okay, let's move on to page 172. Would you like a cadaver dissection of this, or you feel okay about it? Okay, so the next muscle on page 172 is going to be the equivalent of the flexor digitorum, but now we're going to do extensor digitorum, meaning the tendons are going to run all the way to the phalange, distal phalange. So you'll be able to lift not the wrist, but lifting of the fingers. That's what these 2 muscles can help, lift the fingers. You got extensor digiti minimi and extensor digitorum. Alrighty. Let's do the extensor. Where are you? Extensor digitorum. Let's do that one first, just because it's on the list. So now we understand that digitorum is going to be attachments all the way to the fingers.
We
And
have
as
a
you watch the
posterior
video,
view
feel
of the
free to
right
write
forearm
those.
and hand, and we are looking at the extensor digitorum muscle. The extensor digitorum is located in the superficial posterior compartment of the forearm. For context, we also have the extensor digiti minimi muscle that has been drawn into this figure. It has been ghosted in with less density so that we can see through it. And we've added it to this figure to show the relationship between the extensor digitorum and extensor digiti minimi, that they connect down at the little finger. Proximally, the extensor digitorum attaches into the lateral epicondyle of the humerus via what is known as the common extensor belly tendon. From there, it runs down distally, and in the region of the wrist joint, it splits into 4 distal tendons, one going into the index finger, finger number 2, another going into the middle finger, finger number 3, another going into the ring finger, finger number 4, and another going into the little finger, finger number 5. A few interesting points to bring out about the extensor digitorum. It has what are called intertendinous connections that attach some of the distal tendons. The extensor digitorum muscle is also what forms what is known as the dorsal digital expansion, a fibrous expansion of its distal attachments on the fingers 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ultimately, the extensor digitorum attaches onto the posterior surfaces of the middle and distal phalanges of each finger to which the distal tendon attaches.
Awesome. So they lift the wrist. So keep your wrist as is. No need to flex the wrist. Just lift the fingers, and you're gonna see movement right underneath, of course, the skin, moving all the way up. But keep the wrist stable and just lift. You can also place the hand on the table and just try to lift those fingers, and we activate that muscle. Okay, that leaves us with extensor. Digitorum. Did I do just minimi? I did this one, I did this one, this one. Let's see if I got the right one here. Nope. So these are all the muscles in the forearms. Let's kind of go through them. We did this one. Yes. Extensor digitorum, we just did that. Extensor digiti minimi, I don't think I can find it here. I don't know, I can't find it on my list, but it's not on my list here to show it to you. But you kind of get it. Yes? Alrighty, next we can look at the what do we have here left? Let's continue at 172. We got the adductor digiti minimi. We see that one closer to the little finger right here, to the medial part. So let's do that. Closer to the pads of the finger. This is also super important because there's pressure points right here, just like we have with the reflexology. So let's watch that and try to make the flashcard for it, even though we cannot see it. So I'm going to show you a dissection instead, since the video is not working. That's not working either. Forgive me. Let me refresh it. If not, we're just going to move on. Alrighty, sorry, my friends. So we can see this one that it's not connected there, but we'll come back to that one. Let's see what else I can show you that's available here. Okay, let's see the adductor pollex, which is closer to the thumb side. And that would be it for the forearm at least. We got the most important one, extensors and flexors. This is important because it's a lot of muscle does adduction, and we use our thumb a lot with it.
We have an anterior view of the right hand, and we are looking at the
just check it in. You can all hear me and see the video. Yes? You can hear me? Yeah, okay, great. Awesome. So let's do that one. That's very important muscle.
pollicis, one of the intrinsic muscles in the central compartment of the hand. The adductor pollicis has two heads, an oblique head and a transverse head. Proximally, the oblique head attaches into the capitate as well as the anterior surface of the third and second metacarpals. The transverse head attaches proximally into the distal two-thirds of the third metacarpal. From these proximal attachments, the adductor pollicis runs distally to attach into the medial side of the base of the proximal phalanx of the thumb, and there are also distal attachments into the dorsal digital expansion of the thumb, which we do not see in this figure.
Awesome. Just to go back a little bit so have you understand.
This figure.
So it's going to be the middle finger. You can see me? Because I don't know if I don't see myself here. Oh, I see myself here. Sorry, forgive me. Okay, middle finger right here. So this is on the anterior part of your hand. Okay? Coming to the carpal, metacarpal, and to the thumb, to the base of the phalange, the proximal phalange, not the distal. Okay, so bend that. So this is closer to the, so this is the metacarpal, which is this one. It's going to be on the joint of the phalange, which is going to be distal. Okay, got it? Beautiful. So all we're going to do is figure that part right here. And we're going to do some massage technique and stretching for that as well. Okay, next, I do not have any picture. I don't have any, what do you call it? I'm just going to put the other screen on because I don't have any videos for the rest. Now we're going to see the muscles of the hand. So you got the lumbricals and you got the intranosus, which means the one on the, we got the palmar side and the top of the hand. So I'm going to change to a different screen right now. Just give me a moment. I'm going to share the other screen. All right, let's go back to this. Found it. Do you see a screen share of what we just did? Okay, let's move on to the next page. All right, we are right here. Why it's not allowing me to zoom? Okay, sorry. I wanted to zoom, but it's not working. Okay, so let's go ahead. The palmar side. This side is going to be the lumbricals, which are in between the metacarpals. Between the metacarpals right here. And the intranosius are the ones on the other side of the hand between the metacarpals, which we're going to work as well. So that's all you need to know the name of those, okay? Lumbricals and intranosius, okay? They tend to be a lot of fibrous texture to it. All right, let's move on to the next one. So far, you got a good understanding of all these? Okay, let's move on to the next page. And this page right here, it pretty much lays out the attachments of the muscles and the surface of the muscle attaching to the bone and how much of it, okay? So here is the common tendon attachment, which is the medial and the lateral. So common extensor, common flexor, and common extensor. These are lines of attachments of muscles that we just discussed. So that's going to give you an idea. If you remove the muscle, how every inch is connected to muscle on the bone, pretty much. All right. Yeah, I was thinking maybe I can show you anatomy questions. Would you like to see anatomy questions on this subject? Or we can.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. But they won't ask too many, so don't be overwhelmed, but they do help. Okay, let's minimize this. That gives us time to do the massage. We'll do 10 minutes, and then we'll start with a little bit of, I'm going to show you stretches you do for yourself, about 20 minutes, and then we're going to start the massage. I'm going to log out of this first. Oh, I have Exam Coach AI? I didn't know. Exam Coach, Exam Coach. How do you feel about the arms, the muscles of the arm? A lot? A little bit? I know, they're mouthfuls.
So. I feel like if I read more about it, I'll be able to understand it more.
Yeah. Now, when we stretch them out and you work them and you see what kind of question they ask, it'll make sense. So for the next 10 minutes, let's do some. Do some questions, just because it helps get understand what they might ask. And, I have the best computer, so thank you for your patience. So we have about 5 extensors, 5 flexors, and some here and some there. Let's do this, Exam Coach. Come on. Maria, are you doing all right? And this way we can show you where you can also practice some.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Just got a phone call, that's fine.
No
Okay.
problem. I'm just gonna
Thank you.
check on you, make sure you're You okay? Okay, anatomy and physiology. Oh, sorry. Let's go back. It's under kinesiology, okay? And you have access to this, so you can practice as well. We're doing the elbow, forearm, wrist, and hand. We didn't cover every little thing. Covered what's most important, and I think it's gonna be just fun. Okay, so let's see. You can also unmute and answer. What is the common origin of the wrist extensor muscles? Is it the lateral, epicondyle, the ulnar tuberosity, kind of somewhere close to that, medial epicondyle, or the Alconian process?
Medial epicondyle?
Let's try.
Ooh, sorry, guys.
No, you're good. If that is not it, it's going to be
A, final answer.
yes. So this is how you can. So you get okay. Extensors are going to be lateral. Flexors are medial. It's going to make a lot of sense. So this is medial. If you flex, they're coming here to the inside. You're not going to see any activity here. If you extend, then you're going to feel the activity here, and it's really light here. Next question. Which term refers to the ellipsoid joint between the distal radius and the proximal row of carpals? Okay, so we know where the carpals are, right? The proximal row, that means the ones that are closer to the humerus, to the radius, okay? So which term refers to the ellipsoid joint? So a type of joint, right? That glides kind of goes like this and kind of goes like that. Yeah. It's not a hip, it's not a socket joint. It's not a gliding joint. It tends to be flat and kind of glides kind of this way. Okay. It's called ellipsoid or condyle. So between the distal radius and the proximal row. So distal radius, where would that be? Here or here? Yes, so they're talking about what now? What joint do you think they're talking about? Wrist, hand, finger, or elbow?
Wrist?
Right.
Correct. So the joint here is going to be the elbow, the Aconian process, which is extending from the radius to the humerus. The joint here is the radius with the carpal. Okay? Next question. Stop me if you're not understanding what I'm saying. Okay, one of the muscles responding for flexing and adducting the wrist is, we didn't go through all the motions, we're going to do them in a little bit, but I just want to show you some. And you can also look at the book or if you did the flashcards. So let's kind of do it together. One of the muscles of the flexing. So these are all flexors, but it also adducts the wrist. So that means we'd be in this position. Okay, so the wrist is going to be, this is towards the midline, this is away from the midline, right? So this is going to be adding to the body, this is away from the body. This is flexion, and this is extension. Adduction, abduction. So, which one do you think does that? Feel free to look at the muscles in here, find them, and see the action. You can also guess. Have fun.
What do you guys think? C or D?
Maybe D. I don't know.
I was thinking D too.
Lexicarpal?
Huh? They're both
The
carpal.
wrist,
One is gonna be closer to the
the radialis.
and one is gonna be to the here. So on the radialis, that means it's gonna do this, and if it's on the ulnaris, when it shortens, it's gonna do this.
Oh,
So
So
you
the
said
ulnaris.
radialis.
Yeah,
See?
final answer. Oh,
Why is it not
C,
correct?
adduct-
Huh?
Is it C because of the adducting?
Yes.
Yeah,
See.
exactly. See,
It's
because it's
C.
closer to the
Mm-hmm.
body, it's gonna get short, so it's gonna pull the wrist this way. It's making more sense, no?
Yeah. For me.
Yeah, it
Thank
is.
you.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, I hope so. All right. Which term best describe a round eminence at the distal end of the humerus that articulates with the radius? So just to break the language down a little bit. So round eminence, so around landmark at the distal end of the humerus. So this is the humerus, right? I don't know if you can see me. Humerus. Distal end is this or this?
Mhm.
Closer to the elbow or closer to the shoulder?
Elbow.
Closer to the elbow. Okay. Articulates. We know what articulates mean, right? When
Joins them
two
together.
joints come together, they articulate. So articulation or joint is the same thing. And articulates with the radius. So the radius is the big one. So there's a point here where they articulate together. Don't worry if you don't get this one.
Yeah.
But maybe you can get this one. It's probably easy. Round
So one
and
of the epistyles.
which one?
Yeah.
Which one? This one or this one?
C?
A.
No.
No, no.
No.
To go to the bones. So it's a bony landmark that I haven't shown you, we haven't talked about it today. But if you have your anatomy book, the colored one, I think there's a good one to see. Or if you want to look at the AMTA app, let me see if I can find it on the AMTA app for you. We have 1 minute. That's gonna probably take us more than 1 minute. I would like to do another question, and maybe on the break, I'm gonna find it for you. Let's do that. I'm gonna find this for you so you can see the rest of the anatomy of the elbow. So is it trochlea or capitulum? Just guess.
B.
You don't know. Just guess.
B.
B. Cool. So while this video is gonna cut off and download for 6 minutes, you're gonna look that up. Okay. Okay. So let's do next question, and I think we have less than 1 minute, and that'll be it. Now, the ulna's lateral joint surface that articulates with the head of the radius, right? So radius, head of the radius. It's going to be here. And then joins the surface, articulates with the ulna lateral joint. Lateral joint surface articulates with the head of the radius. So that means the ulna and the radius, at some point, they kind of come together. When you come back, I'm going to show you.